And
a couple of constant messages from the police department, and they are that the crime scene was tampered with, cleaned up, and that the residents, the 3 residents of the house, have lawyered up and been more or less uncooperative.
the city to have its own crime lab. Approximately, understand about 30% of the FBI's work, analytical work along forensic evidence is actually DC related, and unfortunately you have to wait in line for this work to be done. It would be a better thing if that information could be processed in what we would consider a more timely fashion. And yet hopefully it will be done relatively soon.
Any indication why? Is there a delay here? Why it's taking so long for the school?
I don't know, but when I spoke to Glenn Kirshner earlier, that he wanted to indicate he wanted to meet with us. That's the head of homicide unit, and we will be going over. He specifically wanted to meet with Kathy, talk about progress in the investigation. That's certainly one of the questions that will be put to you.
Eric, of all the facts that you know in this case, what is the most egregious fact?
I'm not sure I call it an egregious fact, but I mean, the reality is that a great young man was murdered in the house of 3 people who were his friends, claiming to be his friends. And yeah, they said they talked to the police, and yeah, they gave samples of DNA samples and things of that nature. He could have been compelled with anything, so he did it before prosecutors, police, made him do it. But my sense is that, again, I don't know all the details of the investigation, but my sense is that information that could be shared and should be shared simply has not. And that, I think, is the most egregious. You're either friend, you care, or you don't. And if you want to be on one side or the other, the choices are very clear.
One of the things that, as you know, the residents have claimed consistently is their conviction that what happened in that house that night was done by an intruder. How likely do you feel that is? And speak to the fact that there were 3 other people inside the house that night at the time an intruder would have committed that murder.
It might well have happened that way. I don't know. But what I do know is that if it were an intruder or somebody else, information that is in the possession of people who are in that house would be critical in making that determination. And it is not simply enough to speculate, it seems to me. Again, if you care, and if you claim to be a friend, speculate about what happened. What you need to do is talk about what you know, what you've heard, what you observed, what your speculation might be. Again, this is not an inappropriate time for people to speculate and to share that speculation with the police. What seems like speculation to somebody who's not conversing with the facts of the investigation could be a critical piece in that investigation. And so we're here today to call on everybody to share what information they have, what speculation they have, with the appropriate people.
Eric, if I could follow up, in talking with Kirshner today, have you learned whether or not the investigators have gone back to those 3 since they have hired lawyers and asked for more information? And have they either been turned down or been given access? Do you know?
That I don't know.
Commander of the homicide squad has said, as far as I can recall, that he does not believe it was an intruder that did this. And if that's the case, then we have to review at least the individuals that were in the house would be persons of interest, not suspects. And therefore it would be inconceivable that you as a prosecutor, a former prosecutor, and the police have now tried to determine what a motive might be. Talk a little bit about that, what the motive would be.
Again, I don't know. I don't know enough about the investigation to talk about what a motive might be. Our purpose here today is to really, as I said, we've all said, is for people to simply share information and to not forget this wonderful young man. We all hear about cold cases. We don't want that to happen to this man. We don't want this to be a cold case. We want this to stay in the minds and perception of everybody in the city for as long as it takes to solve this case. All right, thank you all very much for your time. And for all the support that you've shown Kathy and Cameron over the past years.
Schertler declined a request for an interview with Ward. Kathleen Volker, the attorney for Joseph Price, did not respond to a request. For more information about Robert Wone's contributions to the Asian American community, check out modelminority.com under law. We continue to keep faith that justice will be served and that the murderer or murderers will be punished. There is a reward offered for information leading to the arrest of the murderer. Anyone with information is urged to call the DC Police Department at 202-727-4218. Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Asian American Focus. From Washington, D.C., I'm Judy Singh. See you next week.